A very good afternoon and welcome to KTN Business Today. You're just joining us at the top of the hour and we'll be covering for you the latest from the world of business, even as the week comes to a close. We'll be crossing over to Tharaka Nithi County where we have our very own George Maringa will be giving us an update on what's been happening in the counties, even as Tharaka Nithi County will be opening its first ever offices that were built in this particular financial year. We'll also be crossing over to City Center Studios where we have Julie Owino, who has been covering the Kenya Airways annual general meeting, and she'll be giving us some numbers and some strategic decisions that the airline is trying to make to remain profitable in this turbulent environment. All that coming up on the program this afternoon. But first, let's take a look at our Twitter poll question for this particular afternoon. And we're asking you today, what sort of measures can be put in place to aid SMEs to gain access to export markets? You can share with us and, of course, engage with us on social media, and we'll be able to sample some of your views on this particular Twitter poll. And remember, you can tweet us at KTN News. You can reach me at Agina Abi. Remember to use the hashtag Business Today. Well, let's now take a look at how the money markets are performing on this 22nd day of June 2018. It has been an interesting season where we've been seeing the Kenya shilling firming up against the US dollar, and there are the numbers for now. Well, the dollar today is trading at 100.73 buying, selling at 100.52. The sterling pound is trading at 133 shillings and 52 cents buying, selling at 133.83. The euro is trading at 116.97 buying, selling at 117.23. Quite some interesting moves, especially on the euro. And let's now turn our attention to the NSE performance. We've seen the NSE 20 share index actually edging downwards in the recent few weeks. And cumulatively this week, the NSE 20 share index has lost over 30 points. And this goes to show the sense of volatility that continues to rock the securities exchange. And the turnover is at 854 million, shares traded 26.4 million, and the bond market is also closing off at about 2.2 billion worth of bonds. Let's take a look at most active stocks as of now. Well, Safaricom is topping the charts. They're up 11.24 million. Athi River Cement up 4.40 million. Scan Group is actually moved 3.01 million worth of shares. Kenya Reinsurance Company moving 913,400 shares. Well, that's a quick look at the most active counters. Well, let's take a look at some of the winning stocks as of this afternoon, I beg your pardon. Well, the Deacons East Africa stock is topping and it's up 8.33%. Some rebounding on that particular stock. It has been experiencing some interesting shifts where we did see the apparel sector, especially in East Africa, not doing pretty well when it comes to some of the brands that are under Deacons. Housing Finance is up 6.96%, TPS Arena up 6.45%, whereas Kenol Kobil is up 18.95%. Actually, it's up 5.28%, but the stock is valued at 18.95 shillings. Well, on the losing counters, we have East Africa Portland Cement. The stock is down 8.05%, Kabasi down 7.17%, Standard Group Limited down 5.26%. Closing off, we have Kenya Electricity Generating Company, KenGen. The stock is down 4.9%. Well, that's a quick look at how the markets are performing this Friday afternoon. Well, let's take you now to one of our top stories, and that is in relation to Kenya Airways, where today it held its annual general meeting, even as the company reported a better operating profit of 1.06 billion shillings. Well, the company says it will be continuing its cost containment measures, even as this continues to pay off. Well, our reporter, Julie Owino, was covering this particular annual general meeting for us, and we want to now bring her in to get the latest on this particular story. Good afternoon, Julie. Perhaps talk to us about some of the interesting moves that Kenya Airways is taking to ensure that the airline is still profitable.
Yeah.
Well, Julie, if you can hear me, just give us a quick update on what are the management saying in relation to the airline and it bouncing back from a loss-making point to a profitable point.
Come again, Abby, please.
Well, Julie, just give us a recap on the major developments on the Kenya Airways story where you've been covering for us since morning.
All right, thank you so much, Abby. And basically what we are actually seeing of this year's AGM of Kenya Airways is that this time around, it has been a little bit stormy. It hasn't been the case as how it has been in the previous years where K Crew has been faced with a few challenges that actually brought them up on the limelight. But this time around, it has been less stormy. And one of the key things which will bring profit to the company is that they're planning to recall their leased planes, whereby one of them is in Qatar and the other one is in Turkish Airlines, and they're planning to have a list of them back into the country between September to December. And one amazing thing that is also happening in the KQ airline is that they're also planning to have new routes, that is to Mauritius, the other one to Cape Town. And people are also looking forward to see what will these changes impact the Kenyans and even the travelers at large, and also the profits that will also come to the Kenya Airways airline.
Thanks, Julie, for that update. And of course, we'll be getting a detailed update on this in our subsequent bulletins. Well, let's now take you to Tharaka Nithi County, where our reporter Maringa is standing by. And afternoon from Tharaka. Perhaps what's the latest from your end, Maringa?
Good afternoon, Abby. Now, what is happening is that the Tharaka Nithi County government its offices. Remember, there has been a tussle whereby there were a few battles here and there in court where the government and there were a few issues whereby there was a contradiction on where the county headquarters should be. Should it be in Chuka, noting that Tharaka Nithi County is quite a diverse county, Abby, and that where we are standing at the moment is at Kathwana specifically, and of course a few speeches are ongoing, and that is here at the grounds at Kathwana, and right behind me is where the county government offices will be. That is the office of the governor of Tharaka Nithi County, Muthomi Njuki, and the event is underway, and we are informed that the Cabinet Secretary for Devolution, Eugene Wamalwa, will be here to officially inaugurate these offices. And as you can see, of course, we do have the dignitaries here. We have the governor himself. We also do have the senator for Meru County, Mithika Linturi. We also have the deputy governor, Titus Ntochu, of course, present to witness this occasion. And Abby, the reason this occasion is quite auspicious for the Tharaka Nithi County is because previously the government or the offices were in sort of iron sheet offices, if we could call it. And also, if we could now proceed to the other side, of course, that's the county itself. And on the other side is the construction of the county assembly that is currently ongoing towards that end. And you see, of course, that's quite some development here in Tharaka Nithi. And notably because, as I have said, there has been there was some few battles in court with people contradicting each other on where the headquarters should be. Remember that Chuka town is quite on the roadside, the Embu Meru Highway, and they were arguing that if the headquarters are based there, then it is only that place that will grow. And so there was a need for the headquarters to be based here at Kathwana. It's quite in the interior, Abbey, whereby it will also prompt, or of course, having a headquarters in such an area will make the area develop and grow for the residents, of course. So we are waiting for the speeches to begin. That is in a short while. Of course, with the governor himself, Muthomi Njuki, and as I have mentioned, we will be expecting the Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa to grace this occasion, which is quite auspicious because these are the first permanent offices after a battle in court regarding heading where the headquarters of the county government of Tharaka Nithi should be. Abby.
Well, many thanks there, George Maringa, just keeping us up to date on matters devolution in Tharaka Nithi County. Quite a major milestone there for that particular county, even as it continues to lay the foundation for the development of the region. Well, coming back here in Nairobi, just 2 days after the globe marked the World Refugee Day, well, a number of unused facilities from the Dadaab camp under the United Nations High Commission for Refugees has announced that more than 1.1 billion shillings worth of infrastructure in form of schools and hospitals in Dadaab camp now lies idle following the closure of 2 camps in Dadaab. Well, the infrastructure includes several fully furnished hospitals and schools, which UNHCR hopes to hand over to the government, even as locals remain pessimistic that the facilities will indeed be used to benefit the community within and around. Well, Timothy Otieno reports.
Since the repatriation exercise was announced by the government 2 years ago, over 14,000 refugees, mostly from Somalia, are reported to have gone back home. Already 2 sectors within the expansive Dadaab camp have since been closed. Kambios sector shut down in March 2017, and E42 camp, whose last resident left on the 26th of May this year. And with the mass exodus, empty facilities such as these are left behind, with the United Nations High Commission for Refugees contemplating a handover ceremony for several schools and hospitals within the 2 closed camps.
We are engaged in constructive dialogue to see how soon we can organize the official handover ceremonies.
The UN agency is expected to hand over more than 10 education facilities, including schools in Kambios sector with a capacity of over 8,000 learners, and similar structures in E42 sector with over 16,000 capacity for both primary and secondary school learners.
In Kambios, we had 3 primary schools and we had 3 early childhood development centers. Those are the kindergarten, the early childhood centers. In E42, we had 10 early childhood development centers. We had 10 primary schools. We had, of these 10 primary schools, 6 were temporary structures and 4 permanent structures, including a story building classes.
The E42 hospital remains deserted. Just 6 months ago, medical staff here would be a busy lot. Today, the equipment lay idle, with the facility with a bed space of 100 left at the mercy of the Garissa County government.
There is emergency room, there is a lab, there is a 2 operation theater, there is adult wards, pediatric ward, and stabilization center. There was also in the hospital the area for outpatient consultations, specialist consultation, which we did non-communicable diseases and mental health.
The infrastructure in E42 is worth $7 million. 7 million. Infrastructure in Kambios is worth 4.5 million.
The United Nations High Commission for Refugees has announced a drop in the number of refugees at the Dadaab camp from 245,000 3 years ago to 231,000 now. And with plans to hand over the facilities to the government, it's not yet clearly outlined how the communities left behind will directly benefit, with past accusations by residents of the area citing favorism of refugees over the locals who have limited access to quality education and healthcare. Timothy Otieno, KTN News.
Quite mind-boggling of the amount of resources now being idle. Well, let's talk matters insurance now, and stakeholders in the insurance industry have been urged to embrace more innovative ways on how to combat fraud that has become prevalent in the insurance sector. Well, this was revealed during the 8th Africa Insurance and Reinsurance Conference that brought various stakeholders drawn from across Africa to deliberate on issues affecting the insurance industry in the continent. Speaking during the forum, Liberty Life Managing Director Abel Munda noted that the prevalence of fraud in the industry is a cause for alarm that requires concerted efforts in order to win this war.
So whether you are a consumer or you are a company or you are the shareholders, fraud does affect you in one way or the other. The risk management structures that you have in place, the controls that you have, are still very much dependent on the people. So the people element cannot be underrated, quite critical. But you need also systems that can detect for you when fraudulent activities are happening in your environment.
Well, to some news on fashion now, the Agents France Development will sign a cooperation agreement with Hever Fund LLP to advance credit and technical assistance in a project worth 90 million Kenyan shillings in a bid to unlock the potential of the creative and cultural economy in Kenya. This signing event marks the beginning of Hever's next 4-year strategy, looking to drive 500 million shillings in growth investments for enterprises in live music and events, fashion, apparel, manufacturing, retail, film, television and audiovisual content, and gaming, esports and entertainment. These enterprises will be able to access working capital and asset financing, as well as strengthening their internal systems to enable them to produce at a scale and make their business practices more efficient.
Within the month of June and July, we'll make it possible for you guys to apply for these resources. And in the best of our ability, before January 2019, most of this money should be in your account. That is our commitment.
Some good news there for those in the creatives world. Well, Majid Al Futtaim has announced plans to open a new hypermarket at Galleria Shopping Mall on Mombasa Road in July 2018. Well, the hypermarket will be Carrefour's 6th store in Nairobi, as the retailer seeks to respond to changing customer needs and cater to the growing demand for formal and modern retail in the capital and its surroundings. While the new store is located in an area that did not previously offer its residents any form of modern retail, despite a growing population in that area. Well, with the new store, Carrefour will be able to provide residents of the Karengata area an unrivaled shopping experience, delivering its bespoke quality offering and value for money. The Galleria Shopping Mall opened in 2010 on a 12-acre piece of land and has developed into a vibrant shopping, dining and lifestyle destination. Well, to some matters that will be interesting you on sports, and Kenya Rugby Union has sacked Kenya Sevens head coach Innocent Simiyu Namcos. Simiyu, in a meeting by KRU board, decided to send Namcos packing over a result of the fiasco in Paris Sevens that saw Kenya mask off sponsor's name. This comes as a tough-talking Tourism Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala hit out at Kenya Rugby Union officials for their failure to pay Kenya Sevens team when on national duty during the London and Paris Sevens leg on the HSBC World Sevens Series.
How can you become a Kenyan and you go to an international activity and then you cover the brand Kenya? How? Even if you have problems with your organizations, that was not written Brookside, or it wasn't written Tusker, or it wasn't written Safaricom. It was written, make it Kenya. That name there was your country, your motherland, which made you what you are. And then you go there to embarrass us and cover it. Brand Kenya has a contract with Rugby Union. And today, we are cancelling that contract. The 20 million contract we are cancelling because they have failed to pay their players. The players should go to see the CEO, and we will pay them directly.
Quite tough talking Cabinet Secretary there for Tourism, Najib Balala, and he raises some pertinent questions which has elicited a multiple of reactions on social media when as Kenyans continue to be divided over this stance that he has taken. Well, aside from that, we want to go for a quick commercial break, and just to mention before the break, actually after the break, I'll be speaking to Maxwell Okello, who is the Chief Executive Officer for the American Chamber of Commerce here in Kenya, and he will be talking to us about an upcoming summit, that is the AmCham Summit, and it will be addressing issues of how can SMEs access the export market in the United States of America, and what are some of the challenges in the industry. All that after the break.